Is new business. A public hearing on the application for Copart of Connecticut. DBA Copart seeking a special permit under section 3.24 of the Town of Warren zoning bylaws. The applicant, Copart, is requesting to operate a junkyard slash automobile graveyard, which includes the storage of salvage and motor vehicles. It's a class 3 permit issued now to the property owner, John Fijol and Lois Fijol, together, family business. And the class 3 is issued by the select people, not this board. The discussion is the transfer of that permit, class 3 permit, from Fijol to Copart's. The property is located on 656 Old West Warren Road, also known on the assessor's map as Lot 47, portion of and located in the residential area of West Warren. Tonight we have the owner of the property, John Fijol, and his mother present, and a representative from Copart. In our last discussion we had with Mr. Fijol, the property and a map was shown to the board in full, how the property was going to be broken off, or in full. The map showed in full how the property would be set aside, and Copart, which joins the property already, is going to assume the property to the right, to the left, excuse me, as we go up their driveway at this address. Is there any questions from the board at this time so far based on what Mr. Fijol has presented? Hearing none, we'll move on with that. The applicant now is Copart's. Why the board asked for the meeting this evening on the permit was to make sure that both he and Fijol, or not he, excuse me, the company Copart's and Fijol's are understanding in how they wish the property to be transferred, and will Copart decide or describe to us what they are going to do to the two existing buildings or any changes in the property. And the reason I'm asking for that is we have abutters here who have concerns. The town, in fact, has had concerns, the planning board, and we addressed this with the highway department. The highway department was supposed to post the road at both ends, reference the merging of the vehicles coming and going, and the speed limits. The chief of police has been asked, I asked him personally the other day, prior to this merge, that some of these trucks coming and going, speed and how they enter and exit onto the road, which is a public road with school buses, people, and people just coming and going up into the facility. So that's part of the concerns by the residents, the board, and I will be speaking, I have an appointment, excuse me, with the town highway superintendent tomorrow in reference why it wasn't done and that it will be done. Excuse me, and here with Copart's tonight, I'm sure Copart's is going to be concerned about it too, with that safety, and might be able to explain or answer questions that any of the abutters may have. So what I'd like to do now is have John Fijol, representing the property there, just explain what their process is, the Fijol's process is going to be, and then I'll turn it over to Copart. So if you would, John, please.
Certainly. Well, the proposed is to sell the property that I now own. I have a salvage yard class 3 license on that property. I do dismantling, I do crushing, I do all that kind of stuff, which Copart doesn't do. I understand that the board had concerns with the environmental impact of my operation. I've kept it clean. I've kept my other shop that I had since 1985. That was clean and went through all the tests and everything before Copart actually bought that facility from me back in '09. This is fairly new property. I've never crushed any cars on it yet. We were getting ready to, if this all happens, we're going to be getting ready to crush and get rid of all my cars and open the land up for them to use. Other than that, I think they're just a pickup in pretty much a sale car. They sell the whole car. They don't sell parts thereof. They don't drain anything. They don't take any motors out. They don't do anything like that. I believe it would have a less of an impact, a less chance of any spillage on the property with the new owners, as opposed, I mean, not that I'm not careful, not that I don't do what I'm supposed to do as far as dismantling in my shop like was written in my order conditions, but I think there would be less of a chance of any kind of impact on the environment on the property by Copart owning the property. I think it'd be a good thing.
Very good. Anything else?
I don't know if I should present the plans of what they want to do, or?
We'll go there in a moment. Are there any questions from the board in reference to John transferring that and what he just spoke on?
No questions.
I have one statement, John. Is it a fact, yes or no, please, that you had DEP inspect the property a few years ago and they found no problems? There was a letter, was there not?
Correct, there is.
Okay, so that DEP did come out to the facility and there was a letter written by DEP.
Right, I was in compliance
Okay.
with everything they were.
Okay, so, and the way the property is, it's gonna be cleaned up and we'll get the co-parts in a moment. So that's the way it is. The two buildings.
Two buildings.
As we go up the driveway on the right-hand side, I'll call it your barn.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
No, is that going, that's going also, correct? Any questions about that?
If not, I'm more than happy to take it out of there. It's just like a temporary shelter type container building that I built. They haven't decided whether they can utilize it. If they can't utilize it, and I will take it down and dismantle.
Okay, that's the answer there. Any other questions for anybody sitting here this evening right now, abutters or whomever here present? Okay, hearing none from the board. Thanks, John. What I'd like to do now is a representative from Copart's present, please. He can explain what, he or she may explain what's going on and how the process is gonna go from them. Anybody, folks, don't be afraid. No pumpkin patch at the end of Worcester County, and
Hi, my name is
no
Lisa
big city,
Dory,
but we know what goes
regional
on.
manager for Copart. We're just asking the board to approve our expansion of currently what we do in our day-to-day operations. Just be more storage property for us. As John said, we don't dismantle, we don't sell parts, we sell strictly whole vehicles. Excuse me, via auction.
Okay. With the expansion of the property that you're gonna take over, does the board have any questions reference the move from the right-hand side over and how it's gonna be set up?
Not necessarily that, but I do have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Fine, sir, go ahead.
Simple question, just because I'm unfamiliar. I know where you are, because I know where John's junkyard is. What are your hours of operation?
Typically 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And occasional Saturday. not
Occasional
on Sunday.
Saturday. So what about at night? Is there any deliveries or
We do
transportation?
have deliveries, yes.
You do?
Yeah.
And when do those run at night, if you may, please?
Typically, we have cars picked up throughout the day by our sub-haulers, so all our transporters, we subcontract. If they don't get to shops by like 5 o'clock, they're gonna come in later at night to drop them off. I can't really speak to exactly what time. Just depends what time they get to the yard. They come in, they have a key to our gate. They come in, they drop the cars, and they leave.
Do you restrict any timeline at all for delivery of vehicles to
Not
your?
typically,
You do not?
no.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
With it? With that, the answer to the first question was 8 to 5,
Correct.
and then from 5 to 8. That's your hours of operations. The business is running 8 to
Right,
5,
I understand,
correct?
yes, correct.
The hours of operation, that's when we can go.
8 to 5,
Or
yes.
make the call, 8 to
right.
5. And then continuing afterwards
There's
is drop-offs, so
Yes.
it's pretty much 24/7.
Not typically. Pat can actually speak better. Sorry, Pat.
That's right.
The latest, maybe they come in that.
Yeah, I mean,
Pat's the general
typically-
manager of that facility.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Typically, at night or on the weekends is going to be deliveries. It depends on the volume, but it's not 24 hours a day. There might be an occasional peak here and there, but we typically won't have people run 24 hours a day.
Very good, and that's 7 days though?
It depends on the volume, but no,
Okay.
we're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 is our hours of operation
Yep.
for, most of our pickups and deliveries. But occasionally, they go into the night, yes.
The reason I'm asking, guys, I'm sorry, folks, is Bob brought it up. It's been a concern since when all you folks moved in. And on behalf of the planning board, present this evening, we have not received any complaints of problems be it high speed, be it noise, be it light, be it heavy truck traffic, okay, in the sense, up till right now. So over the 2 years now, pretty much, that y'all been there, 60% of the people in this town still don't know where it is. The people on the street do. And they're living with it. There are just questions about, okay, and if you folks, meaning Coparts, look back to the first meetings we had and when you all established yourselves, and I'm just going to say it this way, hopefully you will do the same that you did when we started here. All right, concerns will reference impact of lights, your lighting, and that's going to be questions going on. We're going to have a couple questions after this. And if you're going to maintain what you have now and just expand it, there's a good possibility once we work with the PD and the town works with the PD, or PD works with you folks, and the word gets out to your truckers. That's the biggest thing I want, and that I'll let the board know too. My concern is getting word out to the truckers. I don't know, from Mad Dog to all of them. I'm just picking on the trucks you see. And believe me, John knows, he had to come to the top of Coy Hill because one of the big rigs went right by my house and it don't go no place. It's a cow path and then it's bejesus because bejesus don't know where the hell I am. Alright? And the GPS is gonna take you by my house and once you get there, the world ends. And this poor guy's standing there like, whoa. And it's a full carrier. We had a good time.
Yep.
Everybody had a good time watching. But it's just the idea that it's an old neighborhood. And if you look down, there's some houses being sold. Not because, just the idea we're transitioning. And I'll say now, I want to make sure that the school buses and the kids and the people in that town still can enjoy their days, and you people live quietly and keep that business going because you're well known and take care of things in other parts of the country. Okay? Thank you. All right. Now, do we have questions? I know we have a family here, the McClellans. Folks, would you like to, we have a copy of, if the board would, go to others.
Yep.
And there is a copy of the McClellans letters. Folks, go for it. The floor is yours, and turn to the people you want to speak to.
I understood that another junkyard was going to be open, and I talked to John. I misunderstood that part.
Okay.
But my biggest concern is these people don't know what an accelerator is. I have grandchildren.
Yes, I know, ma'am. Yeah, we know.
And we had trucks go by yesterday. Now, whether or not they were Copart or tow trucks, I don't know. But yesterday was Sunday. And we do have them 24/7. Not constant,
Okay.
but we do have them. So the junkyard, I'll take that out in my letter, but I am concerned with the speed. And
Fine.
we have no peace.
You're speaking to the people
Yeah,
who
we
hire
came
these
here
other people.
from the city
So
to have peace
direct
and
your comments
quiet.
right, I'm giving you the floor, direct it to them, please. And I think they can take heed to it. They
We
know how
have a
to
business
talk to
up the
people.
road now. That's not what we moved out here for. We moved out here for the beauty of the country and the quietness.
Yep.
And that's been taken away.
Well, hopefully, you know, the point's being taken by us and by those, the folks present tonight. That's why we asked them to be here. And that's why I brought it up first. I didn't mean to steal your thunder. Okay?
That's fine.
No. Mr. McClellan, anything to say?
Right this second, no.
Very good. Is that Tony sitting next to you? Jeez, bud, you got big over the years, didn't you? Good for you. Good to see you again. Folks, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Brenda Mossakevitz, and I'm in a butter. Those of you here from Copart might know my house. I'm up on the little hill on the Cinnamon Colored Ranch with the kind of set back from the road. I'm right next to the old white Robert Fijol house. I'm right there. So you're in back of me and you have the old driveway running by my house. The only thing that I'd like to bring up that I think is a bit of a concern is the number of trucks that get lost. I know they go by their GPS, but I'm 620. The old Robert Fijol house is 600, but the entrance to Copart is past 620, further down the road. Now, since you've moved here, I think if I had to get paid for every time I gave truckers direction, I would be a very wealthy woman sitting here right now. And I know you put a wonderful new sign down at the bottom, but over on the old driveway that goes past the Robert Fijol house, the trucks go up there all the time, and I know John's been up there bailing people out a couple times up there because they've gotten lost and they've actually gotten stuck. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that maybe if, I don't know what you could do, if you could put a sign that says main entrance with an arrow, it would save those truckers a lot of problems. It doesn't bother me, I don't really care, but I see those guys go up with the big rigs and then they get stuck, they don't know how to get back, and they go back toward Warren, and so I just wanted to mention, I know your new sign is down there, but over by the old driveway, there's nothing. So it's just a suggestion, that's all, because I see it firsthand every single day. So I just thought I'd let you know that that happens an awful lot.
Thank you. Yes,
Would you
Melissa?
plan on changing any of the access to the property? Would you have a separate entrance?
No.
Or it would be the same? Okay.
Same access as
As
they
now.
have now.
I just have a
Sure.
comment. I know you said you've been here 25 years. I think Vigils have been up there more than 25 years, because I've been here since 77, and they've been
Over
up,
50.
yeah. And it was a business, junk business then, so
Right.
I know that's been here an extended period of time.
It's interesting in that as new moves in and establishes themselves, which we need, every town needs it to grow. Everybody remembers the old and how the town was established in the old trucking. When a business comes in and they draw, delivery trucks into or whatever, we kind of look at it as, oh man, there's another truck going up the road. I mean, Reed Street, where Kathy is on South Street, where Sue and I are way up on the hill. Gee, someone else. We have to adjust to them. And as long as they abide by what, they get lost for a couple times, we turn them around, laugh, and say, what are you doing up here? Or in my driveway. We will live with them, yet the biggest thing I think the board here likes, everybody can look at everybody here tonight, and I thank Copart and John for coming in, his mom for coming in, and we can all talk about it, and then everybody can be satisfied. Bob can ask questions, we can all look at people and get the points across. So in doing this, we're much better off than having just a business come in and you gotta live with it. We can make adjustments and live with it. They understand, we understand, they wanna stay. They're established all up and down the East Coast. They're huge. Yet think about how low profile they are for us. And if we can keep businesses like that, understanding, Mrs. McClellan, Coparts, Bob, Coparts, if we can get an understanding with everybody, then we can live with it. And I think this is the best point about everything here this evening. They know, we know they know. Let's see where it goes. We get the signs on the road of Mrs. McClellan, they're gonna be on the road if I gotta put them up. Okay?
I had
For
a
the
sign
trucks and
put on the
everything else.
road many years ago that says, slow down, children.
Well.
They never followed that.
Yeah, probably found it after the snowplow went by any along, but anyway. We're gonna get those signs on that road, both ends. And Copart's put that new sign down there the past month or so, which is great. Now they know if we could slow them down coming from the east, when they go up and come by and down and go down into West Warren and however, come in that way and go in, it's easier for them to swing in. And make the road safer for people when you're going up and down. And hey, these guys are big. Some of them are large, big, and bigger. They can stay on the side of the road and make them swings a little shorter. I think everybody's gonna be able to live with it. Are there any other questions from anybody present this evening? Tony, go for it, bud.
My question I have is, are you guys creating jobs within our town by bringing more business into our town? Like, are you hiring people from within our town?
Yeah, actually, we employ, we do hire a lot of people that are in town. We have 2 from in the town, and then there is 2 other employees that are from towns around here, so Gilbertville, Ware. And yeah, I mean, we always are looking for, to support the local business. You know, when truck drivers come in and ask, you know, where can I go to eat? You know, we send them down to Gigi's, or we send them down to George's Pizza. You know, we try to support the local business as much as we can. We try to hire local, because that's the best thing about a business coming into a town.
Right. Yeah, I was just curious.
So I guess I'm really happy to hear that, and I'm hoping that you'll support the town in the trucks and the speed that they take on our streets. And, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I have a close personal friend that lives on that street, and we visit quite often. And quite often I see the car carriers come by, and they're doing 45, 50.
I certainly think the signs will definitely
Yeah.
help. We can.
And certainly on your behalf, to
reinforce
just
that.
warn them that, hey, you know, just tell them, these roads are patrolled, the town is serious about it, if you get stopped, expect the inspectors to come out and look at your truck.
Yep. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that'll do it, you know, that'll do it, and I'm serious, I have no qualms about calling if I have to.
Absolutely.
It's a public safety issue, and for me, it's a big issue. You know, I live on a small road that's like that in town. We get a lot of traffic, a lot of kids, a lot of families. Nobody wants to see a tragedy on any end, right? Nobody wants to see a truck driver going off the road trying to avoid somewhere and hurting himself, never mind someone else. So I would appreciate your help with that matter.
Obviously, yes, Michael?
One of the first questions I have is, so looking at the assessor's map, there was actually 600 Old West Warren Road, and I believe that's actually the Copart property. So it's my understanding that they do not have a driveway to that property, is that correct?
That is not correct. They share the driveway. Vigil's driveway and Copart both share that, and that was a decision that was made in the first draft by the landowner when the property was taken over by Copart's. That driveway is
okay.
shared.
Oh, okay, but that's not the driveway that they're using now.
That is the driveway they're using now. That's the only driveway that'll get them to Copart's.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do
And
you have
then,
another one?
okay, then the second question was about map 15, lot 47. There's actually 47.1 is actually located inside 47.
You know, I'm gonna ask Kathy's up. Kathy worked in the assessor's office, and she would know the
Yeah,
maps.
so as far as I thought, the bottom of the driveway was on 47.1 and the top half was 47.
It is 47.1.
Get the map there, Kathy?
So the reason why I was asking the question is, so is the property, is all the entire parcel or the two parcels being sold, or is this just for a right of way on 47 and 47.1?
The parcel that Vigil has now,
Yeah,
that he's working out of now, is being transferred to Copart's. Copart's to the right is staying there, that driveway going up, going
Yeah.
into Copart's, which is shared. That Copart's is staying there, and they're assuming by permit transfer the other half of Vigil's property, which is the area he is in now. He is cleaning that up, moving out, and Copart's is moving. So that property, I don't have the maps, but that whole lot is consumed into one now by Copart's, once the transfer takes place.
oh, okay, so anything that's on the Fijol's side, opposite of,
Yeah.
like you said, you go up the driveway, Fijol's is here, and then Copart is off to the right.
Yep.
So this whole, so that would mean 47 and 47.1 are now gonna be all part of
All
Copart?
parcels one, once the transfer is completed and okayed by the select people, because that's a process they handle.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that means the whole parcel, the buildings, the land, everything will be transferred over?
Whatever, again, whatever Copart's has in an agreement, what has been shown on us, that whole property. We have the whole property. Mr. Vigil spoke about the garage, the barn. That's between the two parties. The other green building or the office building and that, the bigger of the buildings will be assumed and under control of Copart's.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay, and does that mean that Mr. Fijol will be no longer in business since he's occupying?
That
or is
is
he moving
between
somewhere else?
Mr. Vigil and whatever his life and whatever goes on from there. We have no idea. He's transferring that permit, one permit
Well,
to Copart's.
right, which includes the sale of the property.
I don't know.
That's not.
I have no
what that
idea.
is.
Business.
A permit is issued to him for the facility.
Right.
I have no idea if there's a transfer, if there's a sale of property. We don't handle sales. okay? We're talking about a permit transfer and lines, two properties becoming one
Right,
by the new owner, okay? By the new applicant,
okay,
okay?
all right.
All right. Now, reference the questions we had a couple minutes ago, or points I brought up. Lighting. Still gonna be the same as what y'all have in the facility you're working out of now, or is that gonna change at all?
No, will not change.
Okay. The area out back, this is clear of all Vijol, this is now to the new applicant. The area out back, up to the tree line. Fenced in, or how's that gonna work? How are you gonna secure your property, sir? Ma'am?
Thank you, mister.
My name is Tom Smith, and I work for Copart as well, and we would basically replicate everything that we have on the existing property with the opaque fence and put some rock down for car storage.
Satisfied? You know where, we all know where it is. That fence you've seen up there, if that's gonna be around, fine. The existing building, that, the green building, I'll call it John's garage, call it garage at this time. That'll become an office and part of your facility to work on and everything else, correct?
We'll duke it out with the purse string holders, and probably that would be a dream item, you know,
Okay.
to try to set Patrick up with a facility to commensurate with the land that he had.
Okay, that's fine.
But we haven't, you know, we take these things in order, and this is a critical piece of that. Once we get this, we can try to beat the guys up for some money to make an office in there.
No, fine, it's just, these are things that people ask. What's gonna happen? John's got that, we've been going up there. So if you could
We would all like
explain
to do that.
what y'all gonna do up there, the impact, and there were concerns reference lighting, but we haven't had a question about it since the get-go. And if you're gonna do the same, I just want you to elaborate as much as you can about what you're gonna do, and that way people are gonna be satisfied.
So if we could put an office in that structure, and then we generally just have minimal lighting, which would be emergency egress, something along those lines. There would be no 40-foot light poles or anything like that to light up the hillside.
Okay. Mrs. McClellan, still got the floor if you want it.
I just zoned out.
We're trying, I'm trying
I
to
was
pull.
gonna say, and I'm not saying it because it's a threat. You said nobody has complained.
Yes, that's correct.
I wanted to go and sit down with the chief of police,
Okay,
but I kept putting it off because I have to live in that house.
you know,
We've been there 28, 30 years, and I don't want problems with anybody. But I was gonna ask for a radar trap.
Mrs. McClellan.
Sure we do.
Why not? Seriously. And folks, I'm not gonna prolong this, and I already have. But go ask the guy. Ask the selectman. The floor is yours. You're a town resident and a taxpayer.
That's right.
And you have I hate to say it, but you got the right. We all got the right to speak. And I jumped all over it here. Speak. They're here. And I'm sure Pat is gonna get letters out to the trucks. And I'm sure, you know, if there is a stop, hopefully the guy's, you know, everything's all right, yeah, he's gonna learn. All right, so if you wanna get out and see the chief, knock on his door. and
Well, I
let
wouldn't
him
do
know.
it right
Ask
now
for
because
it.
I feel like everybody's on board here and everybody's gonna try.
I've almost been hit.
Everybody
First time
will try,
coming out
Mrs.
of there.
McClellan, and you
It's
know
not necessarily
something?
people coming out of there.
You can have,
Yeah.
Just traveling fast on that road.
Well, Tony got hit backing out of our driveway,
yeah,
Yeah.
totaled the car. Had he had the kids in the back, they'd be gone.
okay, so you just made another point. They're absorbing this left and right because they don't want to lose out. All right? They don't want to lose out. They're established here. They're big. And all it takes is get a couple complaints and we hold the hearing in violation of the permit. And no, Coparts doesn't want to be in the paper and sit in front of the judge over in Brookfield District Court on a Friday afternoon.
Right.
Okay? They're too big. We might be small, I keep saying it. We're a pumpkin patch at the end of Worcester County. But we got voice. I'm not afraid, and the board's not afraid, and the selectmen aren't afraid to make sure these points are taken. Okay? All right, Mr. McClellan, you just ducking down on me. It's all right, I'll look right at you.
this in.
He doesn't talk at home either.
Well, he's like most guys, right? Once we don't have a chance to talk at home. How's that one?
Good
All right? Good. Did Tony leave?
Yes, you
Yes.
I hope Copart's open the door, with their expansion is able to look about job applications for people. We need it, folks, and I'm not
Well,
pushing.
he has a good
We
job.
need it.
He was just asking. He's a roofer.
Mr. Gagnon, you have a question, sir?
Yeah, with the expansion, I just want to make sure you guys include some surveillance in there, because I know that there are, or have been in the past, some issues that have gone on, just to make sure that if anything goes down, that the police have quick access to video in order to quickly remediate anything that's going on. That and having them up there is an immediate deterrent. That's one of the toughest things, because Johnny had it all the time. You know, you try to, people are going in, what do they call it, midnight auto, whatever they used to call it. So just to make sure you have something up there as that deterrent, and if something goes on, the police have instant video access to it. But I know for a fact, by the way, that these guys have hired within. I know a lot of people that have worked for them, so they're hiring local.
That's a plus for all of us. All right, is there any other comments, concerns? Questions? Sue has one. Stand by, Sue. Anybody from presence here this evening? Bob, stand by one. Folks, hearing none, seeing no hands? Sue?
Okay, my only comment is, I haven't met any of the trucks up there. Hope I don't, because I was driving my RV over to John's all the time. But the, Main Street, man, those guys haul. They fly down Main Street. So if you could, when you're putting out your letter to your drivers, Main Street's pretty, yeah, they really, they fly.
Okay, point. Very good. Anything else? Sue?
Nope, that's
All
it.
right, Bob?
Just one comment, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to thank all the parties for coming tonight. John, I've known you for a long time. I think you're a good businessman. I hope you're gonna do something else in town, and I hope you stay with us. The Coparts, you know, we're lucky to have you here. We understand that as a town, but I think you understand too after tonight that we are a town, and we stand for each other in the town. And I'm very, very sensitive to speeders on our streets. You know, I'm on the school board. I spend a lot of time with our students, and I really wouldn't want to see anybody hurt. So thank you for taking that to heart, and thank you for bringing it to light and exercising your rights, because it's always a pleasure to see citizens come forward and speak up for themselves. But I appreciate everybody coming together tonight. Thank you, Mr.
What's the
Chairman.
permit? Thank you. What's the permit? 277?
277, yeah.
277. All right. Hearing that from the board, any other questions from the board? Kathy, any concerns, anything you wish to say or make sure is in order?
No.
You're happy with it, very good. People present this evening, anybody, again, we've had input from the abutters. We see eye to eye, the applicant and the owner. The transfer, again, the transfer is a separate issue based on the selectmen's decision. Was that a question, ma'am?
No.
Okay, no. Hopefully your driveway's safe. I know Coy Hill isn't, so I'll meet a couple in the course of the year again, but that's okay. They'll learn up there. All right, with that, is there a motion on the board, from the board after hearing all concerns, voicing, and having a great time here this evening? Is there a motion to accept the application 277, special permit application 277 for John Fijol and transfer of the properties?
I make a motion that we accept the application of 277 permit.
Between Coparts and Fijol,
Between
correct?
Coparts and Fijol.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second, thank you, sir. Motion made, second, and all in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? 5 ayes. I need a vote.
Aye.
I need 1 vote. Aye for Bob. Derek?
Aye.
Aye. Sue? Melissa? And myself. Thank you. Folks, thank you very much. Those that are here for the vigil hearing, Copart's hearing. Thank you, folks. I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Glad to meet you.
Thank you.
Hey, McClellan, see you later.
Maybe.
Keep us informed.
I will.
All
Good to meet you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What happened? We can discuss it. What happened on the initial? The same as what he has on either side of the highway. And nothing never won.
Thank you very much.
And we've been waiting to see.
And
So
if they
it's
do
not-
what they say and talk to their truckers and we get the signs out there, they'll understand that all the time.
I'm gonna speak with the chief tomorrow and, and Tom.
And I'm not kidding, call the inspectors, let the inspectors come.
That's the last they want.
That's the last thing they wanna see is the lady.
All right, folks, we'd like to move on now, if we could, please. Thank you.
So much more space in here now.
Okay, here we go. Next on the agenda is the meeting with James Gagner, Chairman. Selectman tonight?
Going on? Yeah, well, always both, always one, always the other.
Okay, on the district overlay.
Yeah. My apologies first off to the board. It's been a little crazy lately with the board pulling me in a lot of directions. In late July, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts finally came to terms with recreational marijuana, all approved already, all set to go. We have approved up in the overlay district right now, medical. One of the articles going before the people at the town meeting coming up in November is whether or not we wish to have recreational dispensaries in town. Because this town passed it 48 to 52% too close for the selectmen to say absolutely have to do or absolutely don't have to do. Regardless of how that turns out, what I would like to look at or have you look at is adding to the overlay district recreational with the caveat that if the town has a bylaw that does not allow for dispensaries, then it is only for cultivation and processing. If it allows dispensaries, then everything goes up there and we're just adding recreational to the medical. But if the town chooses not to have any dispensaries and we're a dry town, I don't want to lose out on the possibility of getting a cultivation and processing company in there with the bakery and all that. That's a lot larger of an operation than the medical. It's also a for-profit company. So right off the get-go, we're able to tax these companies. So we get the jobs, we get the taxes, we also get, what the heck is that called? The host agreement on top of that, which goes right into the general fund. Currently with the medical, we're getting $50,000 a year plus $5,000 for sports teams and local charities. And that is about to go through when the first one opens up so that we can start dispensing that to the local sports teams, charities, and Bouchard's getting some of that directly into his account. So I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. It's really short notice. May have to wait for the other one, but you know, I'm trying to get many, many things done with a limited amount of hours that I can actually stay awake.
So our current bylaw says only cultivation.
No, our current bylaw says medical.
Right, and only cultivation.
No, we allowed,
We allow dispensaries?
Yes, we
in
do.
the Mill District?
yes we do.
Oh, but only there.
Right. The reason we don't have them is when it was brought to me from Heal, I said I would absolutely back them on that if that's the direction they wanted to go. But I asked them that if they're looking to open their, for all intents and purposes, retail outlet, would you want it on South Street and 67? Or would you want it on Route 20, or Route 32, or Route 9, or more well-traveled, something easily accessed from the highway? They understood where I was coming from, they agreed with where I was coming from, and I worked with them, got them in touch with the planning board down in Sturbridge, and that's where the dispensary is going. The other dispensary is going down the Cape. So we have a great area for cultivation and processing because we're off the beaten path and nobody's gonna bug them. But as far as having a dispensary, you want something with a little more traffic. So that's how I kept that out. And I didn't want it, so I came up with that.
Comments?
So you're asking to have it so it's on top of for the home. Usually for not just growing, you want it for processing.
Well, right now it allows everything. It allows cultivation, it allows processing, and it allows dispensaries.
Right.
I want that for recreational as well.
Oh, I see, okay.
That's it.
But it's
That's,
still
that's your
contained
end.
in the
This, the other one has to do with the town and whether or not they want a dispensary. If they say no, then we don't have any dispensaries up there. So all I'm looking for this board to do is add recreational or remove the word medical.
Well,
You're gonna have to define a couple things for me.
Go for it.
When you say dispensary,
Yes.
are you talking about a place that dispenses medically prescribed marijuana? Or are you
Yeah.
talking about a retail head shop?
No, it is a,
Dispensary.
right now, the dispensary for the medical side, which is approved and everything over there, is for the dispensing of medical marijuana,
That's
the
approved
oils.
in,
That's approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
okay.
yet, what's the
Here
answer,
in-
what is the answer to Bob, the other answer to Bob's question?
A head shop? That doesn't fall under.
Recreational.
That'd
The
be
recreational, we don't know yet.
So, but
So,
if we were to, if this board were to consider a marijuana law or a change to our zoning laws in the marijuana field to allow recreational
Yep.
marijuana dispensary, would you then call that basically a retail outlet?
That
Or
would
what
be a
people
retail,
commonly call a head
it
shop?
would be a retail outlet, but as a separate article, we're asking the town whether or not they want that. And that article will supersede the dispensary part of the article that you guys are part of.
If I may continue.
Yeah, keep going.
So, am I to understand that you're gonna have a question on the town meeting floor, an article? Is that a non-binding article?
Right now, it's a non-binding article to get the feel of where they want it.
And I commend that, because I think that the town officials should know where the
Yep.
town stands on that, and that certainly makes our job a lot easier.
Yep.
And so I appreciate that you would do that at a town meeting. I think that's a good idea. And I think if you don't get all your answers by the time needed, you might want to put it on a ballot vote as non-binding as well. What is your, continuing with that if I may, what is your timeline?
ASAP, but I have more patience than the people that I'm talking to.
So I guess I'm talking about your client's timeline.
Client's timeline, they want it yesterday. They always want it yesterday, but everything is.
What is it that they exactly want to put in our town?
What they want to look at is a grow facility. They also want to have the bakery in there. They want to have the candy area for the infused edibles, and then take all of that out to a separate dispensary.
So they don't want to
This one
actually
doesn't want to have
dispense
it, right.
here.
The one that I'm talking to now, who is looking at working a deal with Hardwick Knitters for one floor, wants a dispensary somewhere else. They already got, I didn't even have to pitch them on the, you don't want that here. They understand they don't want that here. They want it in a more populated area.
So they just wanna make everything here.
Right, they've run out of space on their medical part already. And they know that the recreational is just gonna explode. That's where the money is.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the money is. Now, right now, I'm not sure, I think on the medical side, technically you can get more than you can when you buy on the recreational side. It's just that there's a whole big to-do with it. But the recreational part, you don't need the ID card.
So what, if they're baking, making edibles and doing all that there, that doesn't mean that we're gonna be selling it in town?
No.
That's just,
That's just,
Go over there
that's where
and
it's
make it.
processing.
It can mean that,
It can.
though.
It
down
can if the
road.
people
Yeah.
want it.
If
If the people want it,
Oh, yes, but the answer to your question is,
it can.
yes.
yeah,
Not
right.
if people want it, so you
If
asked the
people want it,
question.
they want it.
No, you
whatever.
asked the question
Oh, I
about the
was-
facility.
Yeah,
Right.
The answer is
Yes.
yes.
right.
Now, the second part of that question is,
If they
if
want.
the town wants it, if
Right.
the town doesn't want, this company will keep taking it out to their dispensaries,
Exactly.
their other shops.
Well, that's
So
what I
your-
was
your
getting at,
answer
was
is-
like, yes, they can make it, bake it, cook it, do
And
whatever
then
they
down the
want.
road, if the
and then
town
sell it
votes to have
somewhere
it,
else.
they can turn around and put one in
Right.
town.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but
There's a
somebody else
two-part
could do
question.
that
Eat your
too
Wheaties.
anyway.
If
the town voted-
If the town wants it.
If the town
Right.
voted that they wanted it, it wouldn't necessarily come from the people that are working over at Wright's. It would come from somebody else.
It might.
It might come from
It
Wright
might-
Silver.
It might.
Well,
That's
it
what I'm
might.
saying to you.
Well, that's fine. What I'm saying is, if they're going to do that, let's us get the money from it and have them bake, cook, whatever. And if the town doesn't want to sell it in town, that's fine. They can sell it somewhere else, but we're still getting money.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's fine.
still, wouldn't we have to change our bylaws to say where it could go with zones and?
Well,
and
yeah,
then,
we
you
would
know,
have to.
It would,
have
that's
some
the
say in
overlay.
that.
That, right, it's the
Right.
overlay, either removing the word medical
Mhm.
or adding the word recreation.
It's just keeping it at Wright's complex,
Right.
Hardwick
Which I
complex.
like.
Yeah,
I
keep
like
it all
keeping
over
it
there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's there for. And basically, all I'm looking for is another arrow in my quiver to try to get more jobs here. I just want people working.
So, from what I see now, Mr. Chairman, and you can certainly direct me in a straight direction, but from what I see now, basically what our medical marijuana coverage in the zoning bylaws is basically what the state standard was for medical marijuana.
That's correct. That is correct, because
Yep.
we waited for that to be
Right.
settled, and now it's there.
So,
Now, as Jim just said a couple months ago, the recreational is now moving, so the facilities and/or these companies are starting to reach out and look. So go ahead, Bob.
So basically for us to allow them to cultivate and grow and manufacture whatever products they want to manufacture, we would have to rewrite our bylaw to include the recreational part. I mean, they couldn't still make it under the medical part and then take it somewhere else and dispense it as recreational part?
No, because it's
Probably
two
not, right?
separate, it's, the way that we have it set up, you can't. You have your,
Permits, right?
right, the permit wise, special permit wise, you have to have a special permit for your medical and a special permit for your recreational. Remember, Heal Link was inquiring if they could mix it, and they were told, no, you can't. One is for one is for the other, which I think was a smart move.
And the reason for that was based on bill and seminars, based on probably 60% of the towns and cities in the state. That's the way everybody looked at it as the beginning. A permit for this, get you in the door, get you going. Yep, medical's a big thing. Now, when it comes down to recreational, now we're gonna look at how the state sets it up, how other towns are looking at it, and then see what Warren wants.
And that's where we are now. I
That
mean,
is
we've just
exactly-
asked Bill to start looking into
And that's what he's doing
the
tomorrow
recreational
morning at
part
a
of the
seminar.
law.
We were just in a conference today, the chief and I.
At the very least, I would expect that we would wait for this non-binding vote to come through, so we had that information. And are we then required to at least have a public hearing based on that vote?
But what he's saying is.
If we're going to
if
make
the-
alterations to this law.
Well, it's an overlay thing, but
Right.
he said that if the vote is no, then this is a moot point.
Right, then it's a moot
So
point.
then it still can
We
be
still want
processed
cultivation and
here, they
process,
can
right.
still bake it.
It's just the
cook it.
dispensary that won't be allowed there because the
Yeah.
town went against it. So,
All right.
I mean, moving forward is something that you can begin at this
Somebody
time.
can do this stuff already
Right.
under the medical side of things. It's just that, do we want to allow somebody to come in and do it on the recreational side?
Right.
Basically. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
I believe so. I'm looking at,
I'm trying to, yeah.
I'm looking at something that came down from the selectman's office today, and it states non-binding referendum on whether or not to allow recreational marijuana dispensaries in
Yep.
town.
Yeah, that's.
A yes vote will allow dispensaries, and no vote will not. I'm trying to figure out recreational marijuana dispensaries. To me,
It's a retail shop.
that's
It's like
retail.
it's a packy for weed. That's
I
the easiest way to
understand
think
that.
about it.
Yet we were just talking about a company going in down there, making, baking, candying and then sending it out.
Yep.
Is that recreational too?
Yes.
Is that a recreational
Yes.
dispensary? So
No,
why-
not a dispensary, that's not a dispensary.
Yes.
That's
So-
cultivation and processing.
Well,
If
why
they were
aren't we
selling it
asking the
here-
town to allow, first of all,
Open sales,
open sales?
what it should be.
Or why aren't we asking the town, first of all, to allow recreational making, baking, and candying? in
Because I
town?
don't think under the law you can separate them yet.
Why
I
can't
think you can have a moratorium, which is what we're probably gonna look at.
That's the next question, because Wilbraham, or statement, Wilbraham and and other surrounding towns have had this on the floor earlier
Yep,
last year, and they passed moratoriums to
Right.
find out about it.
right, now
So-
that's on the dispensary, that's on the open
Right,
sales.
so why aren't we asking, first of all, on a non-binding referendum, to allow this to happen in the area, okay? The making, baking, and candy. And then,
Because they can't change, that won't change the zoning of the
Right.
overlay district. I think only you guys can do that.
well, that's right. Yeah, that's us. We can allow that to go on there, and the reason we can allow that
All
to go on
right,
there.
so, wait a minute.
Yep,
Let me finish my thought. So that means that you're asking if we want to ask the town if they want that, you guys to add that.
sure.
Okay,
What's wrong with
gotcha,
that? That
gotcha.
way we get that in
Gotcha.
Saves
town.
us from having
You-
to have a public
gotcha.
hearing.
You get that in town.
All right, and then what we can do
And
is we
then-
can move forward, and if they say yes, just so I can go back to the companies that I'm
Yeah.
talking to. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that they're gonna come in, because I've
No.
talked to a bunch of companies.
That's fine.
If they say yes,
If they say yes on the making and baking,
on the making bacon,
jobs.
candy and all that
jobs.
good stuff,
Now,
right, on
that's
the jobs.
And we still have to look at, go ahead. I know what
Give me 8 weeks, 10 weeks, and you guys can have something that's ready for the next meeting, or ready for the ballot.
For meetings,
Or ready
for
for-
meetings, so that we can put it on the floor in May.
Right,
Okay? That way we
so it
can
would be
get
in
it
May
into
that it would be done.
This way we can get this into
All
town,
right.
we can open up, and I got a real problem, and this is me personally, all right? I don't see Tony Marcotte coming in here and sitting with you and asking about it. We're selling, Jim, we're selling
I-
his facility.
I work
He
with
is
what I
the
have.
owner and the
I
operator
work
of
with
that
what I have,
facility,
Bill.
and Tony should be sitting right
Gotcha.
next to you, because I'm sorry, I asked you that
You can point
a
this
year
out,
ago, a year ago, and that next meeting we continued to, Tony came in and presented it. Tony should be here selling his business. He's bitching and moaning, and it's on tape, I'll use it. He's bitching and moaning, he can't sell nothing. You're out there pounding the pavement on behalf of them.
Well, I'm a good sales guy.
That's a wonderful thing. Why isn't the guy who owns it, who's sitting back there, not with you, saying, this is what we'd like to do? Jim, Mr. Gagner has been working with him, we've been working together. I don't see the man in here. We're gonna sell his, we're gonna redistrict for them? No. We're gonna redistrict for
For
the
us.
town if the
Yeah.
town wants to.
Yeah,
He gets his posterior end in here and makes a bitch about it, saying, yeah, we want to do this. Because I don't care, I'm all for it.
no, I
But
got
I'm
you.
not all for,
I
I
got
gotta
you.
use the word, but
That I
I'm not all
can't-
for Tony Marcotte sitting in the background just
there's
going,
nothing I can do
"Yo,
about that.
He
There's
sold
nothing
my, the
I can
town
just
sold my
deal with what I
buildings
got.
for me."
Well, it's bringing.
I can just
jobs.
deal with what I got and try to bring business in, Bill.
Benefits the town.
It's
If it benefits the town, that's the
Where's
bottom
the
line, the
man?
rest of it's a bunch of,
I do.
I gotcha.
I got a question for Selectman Gagner. Have you guys thought about allowing sales of this product at the package stores? If you ask me, that's really where it belongs. We shouldn't be opening private or separate retail outlets. It belongs in the package stores.
I don't think that, I don't know if you can do both in one area. I don't know if the Commonwealth allows for that.
It's all gonna be up to the ABC,
I believe
who
ABCC.
allows.
I haven't seen anything in the law that prevents it right now.
No, there is.
So you're just gonna open one?
Yeah.
I got coffee, I got beer, I got weed. What do you want?
Yeah, well, hey, that is a conversation that's happened
It is at
Oh,
the
yeah.
in
State House
there
now.
because it's already controlled.
Yep.
to a sense.
That's what I'm,
You gotta have an ID, so if I get an ID that says I can buy alcohol 21 and over, and the laws, or whatever the case may be, go that way, I can go in and get this ID, I can get a fifth of Jack Daniels, and I can get a bag of whatever they call a pomegranate smelling, you know, weed.
How would
I
you?
don't know.
But Bob,
But-
Bob, on the flip side,
vodka,
you would have a separate business that's open that you would tax separately. And you would be able to tax that
I'm not- it's just,
separate,
you
you
know,
would be able
for
to
me, it's
tax
just a
that
question.
separate
They're already
business,
established.
3% of their profits.
So getting back, and these are discussions we're gonna have.
Right.
Yep,
So it's a question.
What's wrong with doing it that way? What I just suggested.
I have no problems with that. Because it delays getting it enacted, which is fine, because I can just keep talking to the people that I'm talking to.
Jim, does it delay getting it enacted, or does it put a rush on the town? And personally, this is just me. I know the guy, I like him, I know the family. The moderator does really not go for too much open discussion on the floor, because things get turned and then someone goes, move the question.
Yep.
And we got questions out there that, what just happened? And you know that's happened to
Gotcha.
things since you've been there. If we can describe it to people easily, that they're gonna make bacon candy, go for it. I don't think there's anybody
So we'll
in
do
town
the
not
open
to.
question, we'll
And
put it
then
on
we
in
turn
May,
around.
to get it done in May,
We
if
got
the
time
people want
for the
it.
meetings. We'll be able to
When's your
hold
next town, when's the
meetings.
special? November 2nd?
Special's November 2nd.
Put it on a special.
I got it on the special. I got a letter of intent that I can pull if you guys needed more time, because
And if you have another special for the school or something, they got that $45,000
no,
thing?
it's down.
It's down?
We'll talk later.
All right.
You and me.
What do
a
you
little
think?
But you
discussion.
never know. I mean, you know, the thing is that it's gonna be a lot easier.
Let's get it in.
I mean, look, they can do it medically.
And
I
then
personally
take the
don't
next
have a
step.
problem with it either way. I think it's gonna bring money to the town, and I think it will bring jobs, but
Yeah.
I also don't wanna act on how I feel personally. I wanna act on
Right.
how the
What does the
town.
town want?
So the quicker we can get that information, the better off we'll be. I'm sure we'll have some
No.
hearings about it once we start diving
Right.
into the
So, and they're
actual
not gonna
law.
wanna do that. They,
Okay.
they don't
It
wanna do
doesn't
it.
work.
That's right, but still, let's get the cooking. Let's get the cooking.
Right.
in.
I don't wanna
Get
hold
these
that.
guys in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm willing
And
to.
So you want something in there for the make bacon candy?
Yeah.
All right, for the cultivation and processing
Yeah.
only,
Does the board
In
want
the
because
it?
mill
the-
district.
Does the
correct?
board
Yeah.
want it in?
Doesn't allow them to dispense, they
Right.
can make, they can
Because the
manufacture
town's
it
gonna
for
do
their
that
other
separately.
places. I don't have a problem with that.
Right. And that, we got them in. Then, once we get the info, you talk to the other guy, the other half, or third, we can come back here and say, okay, does the town wanna open up 2 dispensaries, one, a recreational head shops, whatever we wish to
Right.
call them. And then we can get it that way. It's by steps.
I think it's good for.
All right,
It's
so the question is
implements
going
or
to
not.
be for cultivation and to change
Manufacturing of marijuana products.
right, to
Marijuana
cultivation and processing of recreational marijuana.
There it is.
In
That's
the
it.
overlay district.
In the overlay district.
Is there a problem with anybody with that wording? Is there a problem with anybody looking at it that way on the floor?
I'm gonna bring it into you guys before we do it anyway.
Jim, we've
Your
got
link is started,
one more
haven't
meeting until.
Their link is
but
building
yes.
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Their CEO is Trish, one of the ladies who's come in before you.
Oh, okay.
And she actually left her job. They made her stick around because they needed somebody to set up the stuff at the ball field. She does all the concerts at the ball fields and all that. So they had her stick around, but now she is out of there and she is CEO full-time down there.
Good for her.
Yep, and they hopefully will start hiring at the end of this year.
More the better.
Hey,
That's
four
great.
jobs.
So is that okay with you? I'm asking you now, is that okay what the board just decided? Have to discuss it.
Absolutely.
Because I
Make
think
big
it's
candy.
easy to sell that to the town on the
Yep.
floor, then the people start talking about where's it gonna go, what
Yep.
corner, how close to the school.
Right, and then we'll do the non-binding referendum.
There you go.
Talking about dispensaries, and then we'll all have a bunch of big conversations
Yeah,
around
and
that.
I mean, who knows?
Right.
The DOR may regulate that they want it tied in with the tobacco and firearms industry, and,
Yeah.
and then you come to find out that all your manufacturers supply packy stores with their wacky stuff or whatever, you know?
Whatever, people go.
That'd be a great name for a place, the Wacky Backies, huh?
See? Isn't that a couple of those cards when we were kids?
Something like
It
that.
was,
That's-
WHACKEY or something, but that would fit in this town.
Yes.
I can't
Wackies.
remember the name
That
of
would
this
fit in this town.
head
Is
shop
that okay
up
with
in
you?
the back.
Fantastic.
Great, anything else? I'm not gonna hold you up.
No, because I gotta get some sleep, I'm up at 1:30.
Wonderful, thank you, Jim.
Guys,
Everybody,
as
board?
always,
Thank you.
Everybody all set
good to
with
see
this?
ya. Good to see ya.
No, I'll
Bill.
see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You will
Thanks,
see
Rob,
shortly. All
everybody
right.
tonight on that conversation. That's gonna give us a chance to also speak to Bill after tomorrow. He'll get to us. Thank you, everybody. All right, moving on. Discussion of gravel pit site visits. I made a comment to Melissa prior. It was a great day. Sun was out. Quite a few of the landowners over there were there.
I was surprised.
And it was eye-opening for everybody. Kathy did get letters out, thank you,
Thank you.
to everybody,
I got
referencing
it.
discrepancies that were found, or, you know, and then those that we spoke to about their machinery on site, and thanking them for, you know, following the bylaws they would have, and the few things that were
That was-
required of them to upkeep. So,
First time that we've ever met anybody up at,
what's her name, Kelly's?
yeah,
Yeah, we've never met anybody. She
never,
lives in Charlton, that's all we knew.
yeah.
But that guy was good. Hopefully the lane cots is gonna be taken care of. Lane cots, Melissa, up here on the left-hand side where the apartment house is,
Okay.
going up 19. Piles of aluminum. A car from Connecticut just parked in the middle of on the other side of the fence. It was pretty much a disgrace.
Is that the one with the
Overhang.
horse trailer in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, the old horse trailer in the back, buried by all the phragmites and the rest of the
Dump
weeds.
body in the wood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully that'll be taken care of. If not, we'll just pass it on to Jack and let them know that we can bring him in for a hearing per the bylaws and whatever. Anything else discussed by the board about it?
Oh, I thought it was a good day.
Everybody got exercise.
I was just gonna
Yeah,
say.
especially at Mr. Fountain's pit.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody walked to the top of the fountains
Oh,
and
yeah,
over
we
the
walked all the
edge.
way to the top so we
Yeah,
could
that's
look in
right,
the hole.
boy.
Everybody wanted to see the hole.
Yeah.
I could have done without the hole.
Yeah, even Jim was looking kind of red.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
It's
used
a
to
long walk,
driving.
you know. Yeah, I guess so, Jim.
You did say we could take the trucks.
He did say that, and everybody said, no, let's walk up the hill.
So with that, questions, reference, any questions from anybody present? Reference it, Michael Baril.
Yeah, I want to discuss the issue that happened at the Lois Vigil one.
Which one again? I'm sorry, I didn't hit that.
No, I wanted to discuss the situation that happened at the Lois Vigil gravel pit.
That has nothing to do with us. That is to do with you and the app, and you, the landowner. The planning board was there,
Yeah.
and we did what we had to. We spoke to Mr. Vigil and we left. That has nothing to do with us, Michael. Okay, an incident.
So,
The
right.
incident
But
has-
my question is
The incident has nothing to do with it, and that was your question, Michael.
Well-
Any other questions, Michael?
well, yeah. It turns
Any other
out well, it
questions,
turns
Brett?
out it's a public agenda item, and I
Is
told
the
you and I
land-
told
is
you
the-
on video. I'm being nice. I told you on video that Charlene Farris and I were going to be at the end of the driveway.
When did you tell us that?
I told you that right on the video.
Okay, if you did fine, it's on video, fine, Michael, okay.
So the issue is there was no public meeting then at the end of the driveway.
It was posted here, Kathy posted, we discussed on the way back that we withhold holding the meeting because of the time frame. Kathy and I came back, Sue
Yeah.
was here,
Yeah, we
and
weren't gonna have a meeting there.
we were going, hold on please.
Well,
We dispersed from there, Kathy went
Yeah.
in, I walked in with her, she put a taping on the door that the meeting would be continued until tonight. Now, whatever happened to that piece of paper that was on the door, I saw it go up. We left the area. No one was present here, Michael. No one was present when
what
we
I'm
returned.
saying is the lowest vigil agenda item is a public item. Meaning that the public would be allowed to meet at the end of the driveway to have a discussion with the planning board. And that obviously did not happen because,
The public meeting, the way it states with Lois or Jim Fountain or anybody else is with the landowners only. That is the public meeting for the landowners. Any discussion after that with yourself, your representative, or you being a representative, or anybody who wished to come in to a public meeting would have been held here. Our public meetings were posted to be with the landowners.
Well, that's exactly
Which
what
was
this
there
says.
with John Fijol and his wife when we arrived.
Right.
I spoke with John, that we had been there, that we found this, and he was to take care of that, and then whatever transpired after that transpired. Okay? Then we came back here. At that time, the rest of the board that was present decided to
Right.
hold it tonight. Go ahead.
Right, but what I'm saying is there should have, what I'm understanding is, because there's a time on this particular, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, because there's a time slot, 4:30 to 5.
4:35, to be with the landowner.
But it doesn't say that on the piece of paper.
It does, it says a public meeting to be held with Lois Vigil and or a representative, right?
Well, no. Well, that's the other thing too. Is we, Charlene and I, pulled up the Worcester County Registry of Deeds, and it turns out it's under the husband who's passed away.
That has nothing to do with
and
us,
Lois
Michael.
Vigil.
We have it under Lois and John Vigil on our plans, on the assessor's plans.
Right. But
Check
you
it
also made a statement that John, the son that was here tonight, had access to a family trust. We found out the family trust doesn't legally exist.
Michael, that's up with someone else.
Sir, you're the one that said John's allowed because of the trust. So what I'm now telling you is the trust didn't exist. So you didn't meet with Lois Fidel, what it says in the piece of paper.
I met with a representative and I made that statement, excuse me for pointing, I made that statement in the office.
Yes, but you also said that he was the son of
Michael,
the trust. But
what
we
I'll
just
say
found
now
out.
is that in this conversation, you have the right to file a complaint in district court against me for making that statement. Do so if you wish. Thank you. Any other questions?
Well, sir, I'm not
Any
done
other
yet.
questions? Michael?
Yes.
It's over.
So the other
Michael,
thing,
it is
the other
over.
thing
File
too
a
is I already
complaint.
filed
Michael,
criminal
it's
charges
over. Any other questions
against
in here?
John Fidel and his wife. And
We'll
if you
move
want
on
to
to
set
the
a
next
criminal
on the
charges,
agenda.
I certainly have no problem because obviously you didn't follow procedure.
We'll move on. to
And
the
of course
agenda.
you're just going to ignore me because you
Set
know
date
you're
for
wrong.
public hearing. Michael, it's over. Thank you. File a complaint in district court, please.
Yeah, I'll have your ass arrested. That'll be good.
Michael, will you please leave the meeting at this time, or I'll have you removed for making that statement? Which one would you do? Fine, thank you. Kat, we'll adjourn for 5 minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion we adjourn.
Motion adjourned? Thank you. Michael, I'm calling the police department and have you just removed. Kathy, can we get down the office?
Well, it's a
please?
public
Use the phone.
meeting.
Michael, you made a statement that I have never made to you since I met you, and you're gonna be removed now. And I will file a charge with the town.
You
Okay?
can't file a charge.
I can.
You're the one that threatened me on the damn video.
Anybody ask? We can now use the phone, please?
Representatives meet with us.
Yes, and it's only the landowners, we never have the public.
No, but their employees sometimes will represent them and meet with us, and it's not necessarily the owner. It can be someone representing.
All right, well, I apologize for the comment. I will shut the camera off and move.
Kathy's up?
Yes.
We can get down the office?
Yep.
That's my thing. Mr. Ramsey can't even take a public statement.